Hey guys, welcome back
Hey.
to Shifting Gears with Grayson Harris and Whitney Cal. We're here to bring you some of the latest transportation stories and hopefully entertain you along the way. We'll see which one we accomplish first. Whitney, what you got us to start off with?
Well, Norfolk Southern has experienced its third derailment
Mm-hmm.
this year, or I
This
guess
month.
this month.
Yeah.
And that took place in none other than Ohio. Don't worry, guys, this time there were no hazardous materials that we know of that were being transported. So the people in the area are deemed safe, at least for now.
Whatever safe means in this regard.
Yeah, internal emails sent only hours after the derailment show that officials were, making safety adjustments to the rail cars. You would think maybe those would be made beforehand,
No.
um, but
Well,
that's not
what
where we're
would
at in the
give you that
story.
idea? What would ever give you that idea over the past month that they would do anything beforehand?
There's little to no
No
evidence
little to
that
none, yeah.
precautions would take place other than
Yeah.
post cleanup.
A lot of reactionary stuff going
Yes.
on here. So, but you know what? Don't worry about it. If you're scared to get on a train at any time in the near future, we won't blame you. Okay, but we also need to warn you that you need to be scared of bikes.
Good.
There's really no safe way to get around. So, in a real move and a real good news for people who prefer actual bikes instead of the lazy ones, electric bike sales became very popular over the pandemic.
Did.
Again, lazy. And
Raise your hand if you rode electric bikes during the pandemic.
I don't think I've ever been on one.
What?
I just paddle like a normal person. I also don't even know the
Paddle?
last time I've been on
Where
an
are you
actual
going that
bike.
you have to paddle to get there?
Everywhere else that you would go, it's not like it's.
Paddling to the market.
They make it seem like I'm in one of those like paddle boats on Lake Winnie. Anyway, here's the deal, guys. The sales exploded a long time ago, but now the actual bikes are exploding, especially in New York City, because this seems to be a big deal there. At least that's where they would probably be most useful, is New York City. However, that also makes it a fire zone, because just in this year alone,
Lay it
40
on me.
people have been injured by exploding electric bikes. Two of them killed.
Two.
Two.
Is this all from, do we know if this is all from the same company? Is it like one line of
No, I'm
bicycles or
not
is it
seeing
just
anything.
all bikes are popping off right now?
A particular brand wasn't mentioned, at least as far as I could tell. It was just sort of this generic, overarching e-bike epidemic, I guess. Not totally sure, but it kind of like the railroad industry in New York City decided to be reactionary in this regard. They just passed a law banning the sale of e-bikes that are not basically fireproof.
Yeah,
So
man.
good on them
You
for
think we would have
figuring that
learned with the
out.
scooters? Remember when the scooters were
Oh
causing
gosh, yeah, like the bird scooters.
absolute mayhem across the United
Yeah,
States?
like if they weren't littering the sidewalks, they were just blowing them
And
up.
so the natural progression was we'll just make everybody seated on a bike
Yeah,
for the
we'll make them bigger.
motorized.
We'll make them take up even more space, and even more dangerous. Yeah, of
Oh
course.
gosh.
Way to go, us. We're doing great.
Well, speaking of passengers, the Department of Transportation released an online dashboard now allowing passengers to identify which airlines will allow children of 13 years or younger to be seated with adults for free. So it has been a major problem,
Mm-hmm.
especially with airlines where it's free seating and it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of first come, first serve.
Shout out to
Where,
Southwest.
yeah, where children are being separated from their parents,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is wild because you think
seems
the
like that
biggest
shouldn't
problem
happen.
is there better not be a child on this flight, that's screaming the whole time. But I'm sure if you separate it from its parents, it's probably going to be upset and screaming, and the parent probably need to be there to console them.
So good news for parents, at least. Possibly
Yeah.
good news for everyone if they can comfort the screaming child.
I'm curious to know how many complaints were filed in order for the DOT to say this is valid and we should put a
Yeah.
solution behind
I mean, some of these kids were as young as 11 months. I mean, you're talking about
That's not good.
just about an infant. Just giving the infant the middle seat on a flight next to two strangers is the most American thing I've ever heard. And I love it.
I mean, I just remember growing up, that was never an issue for us,
Yeah.
but online you would pick your individual seats
That's less of a thing now. It's all just sort of first come, first serve seating.
Yeah.
Which, if you're a child, that's unfortunate. If you're everybody else.
Yeah. Just come to find
Cool.
out, not every new evolution and innovation is
breaking news. Kids make things difficult.
No.
How breaking is that, though? Speaking of breaking, Amazon will not be breaking ground on their second headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. The economy ain't doing so hot, folks, especially for businesses that thrived during the pandemic. Amazon being probably the most notable of those. Amid really, they've been over, I don't know, 2-3 rounds of layoffs in the past couple of months. Thousands of people losing their jobs, and now they're halting construction on what would be their second headquarters there in Virginia, which would make a lot of sense, right? I think it'd be sort of bad optics to build a brand new headquarters while firing
who would you put in it?
Thousands of people. Robots, maybe.
Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
And we'll get into that. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but the plan itself was actually announced back in 2018. Whitney, what happened about 2 years later? Just take a little guess as to what happened 2 years later in 2020.
Oh, you mean the
pandemic? The world shut down. What? Yeah, that one. So even though the headquarters itself was announced back in 2018, the world changed a lot.
I genuinely didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, I could tell. So I was trying to sort of nudge you in the right direction. I was thinking
Amazon. What happened with Amazon?
No, just the world.
I mean, they became very popular.
But. Yeah, to be fair. So yeah, now that things are starting to kind of cool down from what were their gains during the pandemic, they're having to sort of restructure their plan. A lot of people sort of overshot what their revenues and their budgets were going to be, thinking that this gravy train was going to last forever.
Yeah.
It seemed a bit short-sighted, but whatever. What do I know? And now a lot of people are having to sort of. It's not just Amazon too. There's a lot of companies, especially in the freight world, that are going through cuts, mainly just because they just didn't plan. I would assume plan for the idea that this transportation boom would just continue to go. I mean,
I think
it's still going well.
Some people prepped and planned for it pretty well, knowing like a pandemic is not going to last forever. I mean, we had no expectation of how long it would or wouldn't last. I mean, some people thought, great, we'll stay home for 2 weeks and the pandemic is over, which history books tell us that that's not entirely true.
Yeah, what a quaint idea.
But some of these large corporations, really leaned into it pretty hard. And instead of running lean and having like a good problem of too much, they fully stocked themselves out. And now we're seeing that across the board in the freight industry, in a lot of industries actually, where they're having to slim back down to meet the economy that was pre-COVID. And we are in a recession at the moment, but I'm just wondering, obviously Amazon won't fully close its doors.
That'll never happen.
No, but some of these other companies, I think we're going to start seeing that happen over the next.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of buyouts, a lot of mergers, maybe in our future, and we'll see what mergers are actually allowed to happen. Because it actually wasn't that long ago that JetBlue and Spirit tried to have their own merger, and the government was just like, that's probably not good for the people to do that. So we'll see if that ends up becoming a trend, where some of these companies, especially a lot of these startups that sort of popped up by necessity of the pandemic, and now that it is less of a necessity, less of a demand for their product, I wonder if how many of them are going to go bankrupt, or how many of them are just going to get bought up. Probably quite a few.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Well, back to Boeing. Yeah, so Boeing has decided to release a new type of aircraft, sort of. We're going from the air to undersea. So they were like... Seacraft. Yeah, so aircraft not panning out.
They can't even get aircraft.
Well, the aircrafts aren't coming off the ground, right? So instead we're going to go under.
We're just going to go under, We're just going to complete 180 on this one.
Yeah, so this underwater vehicle... they've spent almost 10,000 hours operating at sea. It's transited hundreds of nautical miles autonomously. So there is movement, right? Good for Boeing. Things are happening. So this vehicle is about the size of a school bus. It's substantial.
Good Lord.
It's not the biggest type of submarine
I don't
that
know.
we've
Yeah,
seen
I was
so
expecting
far.
like a one-man submarine or something. I don't know what I was expecting there, but not the size of a school
Go
bus.
big or go home.
Yeah, the size of a whale.
Yeah, and what they're using this for is exploration for resources, oil and gas under the surface. There was a delay in its release. I'm glad. That means we're tweaking issues, right?
It wouldn't be Boeing if there wasn't a delay. If it's Boeing, it's going underwater at some point or another.
It's going. So the changes are basically around cost. You know, the supply chain is upside down right now, and at the moment, it is not the most efficient cost to invest in.
Yeah, who asked for this exactly?
So right now the launch is set for 2024. It's pretty vague as to what month in 2024 we're looking at, early or late. We're not entirely sure at this point. I don't know that they're entirely sure. So I'm sure what I am sure of is that we'll probably circle back around to this story at a later date.
We'll have more Boeing stories. Like, we're not going to leave them alone. We can't at this point.
We'll ease up at some point.
It's an inside joke at this point.
It honestly is.
Not even all that inside. Well, guys, we're going to start to sort of wrap it up here. One of the last stories that we've got is something that I actually find very interesting. So Save Mart Company has just launched a new automated dark store. A dark store is basically where no one works there. It's just robots. It's all automated.
In the dark.
Because you can keep the lights off. Exactly. Yeah. Don't know how you would shop without the lights, but you get the idea. So it has same-day grocery delivery and pickup using a fleet of robots. So actually, technically, you wouldn't even be inside the restaurant. This is more of like, you know how you can order from Walmart, you can go and just pick it up? It's the same idea here, except people aren't getting your stuff. It's just you go onto the website, you go onto this app or whatever the case may be.
Do the robots bring the product out to the vehicle?
Like kind of like if you're at Sonic, like they're on roller skates and they just kind of come out with your stuff?
Yeah. Or is there a person involved in that? Because what do they do while the robots are doing all the work?
You know, I don't really know. If I had to be honest with you, the way that this sounds, it almost sounds like you wouldn't need anybody. From what I read up on it, it's a dark warehouse, robots, whatever. And you go into this app and you order what you want.
Sure.
And it's sort of like a vending machine where it goes through and it picks out all the stuff that you pick, puts it in a basket, bags it up, whatever.
Okay.
And from what I saw in one of the examples, it was like a drive-through. Like you go through.
Interesting.
And you like swipe, you put in your code or you swipe your car, whatever the mechanism was. And once you get up to the window, it's just sort of, it's like a conveyor belt, and it just spits it all out until all your stuff's done. You're just kind of throwing it into your car.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you can, if it's like a lot of stuff, I think they have like places where you can back up.
luggage claim at an airport.
It's very similar to that.
Cool.
Yeah. But I think actually a better way to describe it, like the truck garages that they like back into where the trailers go into, like in the factories where it's like they got the roll up garage doors.
Yep.
They also have something like that if you order like a lot of groceries where you can basically just back up your vehicle and pop the trunk and it just sort of like rolls into it. It's kind of cool.
Like chaos.
Yeah, it honestly is. I would imagine that the human.
I hope it knows like to put the eggs last.
Well, I think that's what the human element would be, is just to sort of watch your groceries as they're getting haphazardly thrown into your trunk, just to make sure that your eggs are good. But I mean, I'm kind of here for it as somebody who's socially awkward and doesn't want to go to the grocery store and have people look at me and judge.
So where are we piloting this? Who's the brave soul? The brave.
I'll do it.
City.
Oh.
that's trying this out for the rest of us to watch and see.
Mountain View, California.
Cool.
Of course it's California.
Of course.
They get all the cool stuff. But yeah, that is what's going on there. But you know what? We can't end on that. We're not going to end on that. We have one more story that I actually have not told you about.
We're going unscripted.
I really wanted to get your opinion on this one. I can't.
Let's hear it.
All right. So time for Grayson's favorite story ever.
Okay.
Naming contests for government services and machines, such as snowplows, sewer drains, garbage trucks.
Okay.
Gaining popularity around the U.S. A lot of cities are now doing this, like, citywide polls.
Okay.
Gaining popularity as it should.
Sure.
Because this is awesome. You can't wait. This is going to be amazing.
We don't have snowplows here in Chattanooga.
No, but you know where they do?
Will.
You know where they do?
contribute.
Madison, Wisconsin. They just recently unveiled 4 new snowplows.
Well done, Madison, Wisconsin.
Named...
Congratulations on your snowplows.
Oh, no. You just wait.
Oh.
4 brand new snowplows named by the great citizens of Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Saltimus Prime.
That's really good.
Snowby-Wan Kenobi. Seymour Pavement. Dolly Plowton.
Seymour Pavement's my favorite. What's yours?
Oh, but wait, there's more.
No, what's your favorite
Oh,
of
out
those?
of those? A Snowby-Wan Kenobi. Are you kidding me? But wait.
Were these people publicly recognized?
But wait.
Okay, there's more. But wait, there's more. Oh, Billy Mays.
There's more. This ain't a ShamWow commercial.
R.I.P.
But wait, there's more snowplow names around the U.S.
Okay.
In New Jersey, we have Forget a Plowed It.
That's so appropriate for New Jersey.
Forget a Plowed It. In Minnesota, Plowy McPlowface. That's my favorite one. And in Vermont, we have Steve.
It's just Steve?
Steve.
Oh, I wonder if Steve's going to get a friend.
Steve's a snowplow.
I wonder if Steve's going to get a friend or like a girlfriend.
No cheating.
Sorry.
Still a few more. Let's bring it on home
Plowy
here.
McPlowface.
All right.
How did they gather this? Was there,
Well, there was
survey?
a boat. They had
That
this.
sounds like
so
they
it was
went
a
to an
survey.
elementary school and
Right.
they were like, we want you to get
This-
involved
one of the first
in
times-
policies and regulations. Here's how we start.
One of the first times I'd ever heard of this concept, they were naming a boat, and I forget exactly where it was, but they named it Bodie McBoatface.
Okay.
And
That was better.
the city was like, no, we can't do this, and they picked like some other one. And the citizens like rioted. They were like, no, it's Bodie McBoatface, and the government had to like go back and name the boat appropriately. So I'm glad that there was an appropriate solution there.
Yeah.
Let's bring it on home here. You ready for this one? There is also 2 storm drains in Minnesota named Stormy Drainals.
Okay.
Drain the Block Johnson.
Train the Block Johnson. So are these official things?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
how does one go about saying, hey, mayor?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it the mayor?
Probably. Seems like a mayor thing.
Like, I have an idea.
Yeah, the mayor of Madison. Sure, why not? Yeah. Well, it's just they hold these like public survey, or these public naming contests. It's becoming like a legitimate
Our founding
thing
fathers
now.
would be so proud.
Oh man.
This is what we do now.
The right to bear Plowy McPlowface. There's also a street sweeper in Virginia named MF Broom.
Okay.
And a garbage truck in Indiana named Ben Diesel.
Shut up.
I won't. Well, I think that's a pretty good place to end it right there. You know what, guys? Leave some comments of what you would name a snowplow or any sort of government vehicle.
Let's throw some
storm
pictures
drains.
up of these too.
Here's a snowplow. Anyway.
That was above my face.
Here's a snowplow.
Let's see.
All right. Thank you for coming, guys. We appreciate it. If you stuck around to hear all these names,
Congratulations.
you're welcome.
You're a winner.
You're welcome.